Hello, Guild members. Welcome to part 2 of our GAMA recap, as we are going through the things after the fact due to some issues with uploading and just bad videos being made as I was tired. So now we are on our board game recap. Just give you a heads up, as opposed to previous years, this year's GAMA board games was a little bit quieter than normal, just due to all the tariff and shipping issues that happened last year that caused delays. About half of the board games that were available were things I'd already seen before. They had already came out, they just got delayed, and so they showed them again this year to remind everybody they were there. So I've got a few new games from some of our favorite publishers, and but overall it was just a lot of recaps of similar things. I'll bring up some games that I've talked about before, some more hard release dates for those, but overall it was a kind of a quiet GAMA for board games. First, we're going to start with Czech Games Edition, which is a favorite among our board gamers. A couple games that we tried out. One was called Wispwood. It was a tile laying game, as you are trying to create a forest within Wispwood, trying to gather your map together with the tiles around a cat. It was a lot of fun. It had some good, very clear ways to gain points, and then you spent building your tile grid. Starts at 4x4, then the next round it goes 5x5, then the next round it goes 6x6. And you do wisps and mushrooms and hearts and all sorts of different things in order to build this wood and your wisp wood and make it function great, and there's ways to get points with that. It was fun. It was very light strategy, very quick play. After you learn how to play it, the turns are very quick. So it was a lot of fun. The second game I played was a game called Drillers. You essentially on a planet that these massive machines have already come through and gathered all the resources, but they're not very efficient, so they've left things behind, and so you work for a company trying to go down in a drilling mech into these massive holes to find the things that they left behind. It's a little bit lesser of difficulty level than SETI. It was a lot quicker gameplay, but it had a very similar feel in the Euro resource management, hand management. It has a little bit more deck building. Actually has a lot more deck building than what SETI does, but you know, somewhat of Lost Ruins of Arnak style with the deck building, and you're moving up and down. It is a medium strategy game, but on the softer side, so it's a lot more approachable for those who are not quite as deep into the Euro resource management style games. It was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I liked that it had a similar strategy level of similar strategy level within the game without being as complex. So it was great. As you guys shouldn't be surprised that as I went through the game during the demo, they were looking at me going like, "Why are you drawing so many cards?" Well, yeah, that's what I do. I draw cards. So it had that great mechanics, so that made me happy. And so I think you guys will love it. It should be coming out in August, assuming there's no delays. But I think that one's going to be a favorite. It's going to have a little bit more people jumping in. I love SETI. I think it's fantastic. Drillers is more approachable. And so I think this is a good one for that. All right. And then we've got another game called Sea Beasts. This one's going to be a cooperative game that's probably in the medium strategy. Not a little bit heavier on the medium strategy side, but not heavy strategy. It's not a super complex game. You play Vikings who are tutorship. So you work in pairs of twos, and you can have up to 6 people depending on which version of the game you get. You go out on your ship trying to deliver goods from point A to point B, but every time you go into the ocean, you risk awakening sea beasts and being attacked. There's a random dice section based upon what part of the ocean, part of the waters you are going through, And the deeper the water is, the more possibility of super dangerous beasts and legendary beasts coming out of the abyss. So you roll the dice to find out what happens, things pop up, and then you gotta manage the situation. There's 2 actions per turn. You move across the boat. There's 6 spots that the sea beasts can be at, so you gotta be closest to them in order to be able to hit them with melee attacks to survive. There's ways to repair the boat. There's ranged attack options. There's good strategy with it without being super complex. With some of the movement strategy, you basically choose to do so and see how many things wake up. I thought it was really interesting gameplay. The pieces were gorgeous. The options you had to be able to upgrade yourself was smart. It had a very good use of sweat versus blood gaining. If you kill certain things, it gains you the ability to buy abilities and upgrade your characters over time. There's a campaign mode involved. It was a lot of fun. I think there's a few groups that will thoroughly enjoy it because it is it's a good medium level of strategy in there. It's more approachable than some dungeon crawlers are, but it had some of that combat feel that you'd find with dungeon crawlers, which I think will be appreciated by a good group of our board gamers. And then last, but certainly not least of the board games I want to focus on is Elementary. Monsters, you're at Monster Elementary, and you are at the first day of school, and your goal is to get the best group of people possible to your lunch table. There's kind of a liar's dice mechanic in it, in which you're betting and bluffing as to how many pieces everybody has based upon certain ingredients, certain goodies that you're trying to entice your table mates to your table with, whether it's candy bars or milk or sandwiches or things like that. And that's the beginning of the game. You also use that as ways to draw cards and get people that you can get out of the lunch line. That's the draft system, is the lunch line. It's a lot of fun. The most important thing that I have not mentioned so far is that this is another Manny Vega and Sandra Tang game. So for those of you who love Flamecraft and those of you who love T-Witches, this is right there with them. It is right in between those 2 games in terms of difficulty level and complexity. So it's not got quite as moving parts as T-Witches does. It's a little bit more than Flamecraft. It kind of fits really solid right in the middle of them because it does have the Liar's Dice mechanic and the resource management. But it's very smooth, very quick games. You're trying to bring clicks. There are click suits of the different characters, and we want certain ones to be next to each other, and you want to give them certain foods. Candy bars are wild. It's very thematically and punny and cute, just like all the rest of the Manny Vega, Sandara Tang, I apologize for the name messed up. And her art, this is fantastic. It's a lot of fun. I had a thorough blast, and with that, we'll have some possibilities for people to be able to get that when it releases, hopefully in late August, early September seems to be the goal for that game. We are going to be opening up the ability to pre-order or to put your name down for a copy. Very, very, very soon. I'll make an announcement. I just need some time to get the paperwork ready for it, right? So it should be within the next week or so. We'll have that out. We are going to be one of the first places that you have an opportunity to actually put your name down on it. We'll be able to get the game directly from us. I mean, people who went to GAMA had an opportunity to get it and put their name down and guarantee copies this early. So I already have allocations. We don't have to worry about any of that. So if you love the Manny Vega Sandara Tang games of Flamecraft and T-Witches, this is going to be right up the alley. It's got different game mechanics than the other 2. So it is a different game. It's just not a rehash of what's been going on. You don't have to worry about that. That is not what this is. It's a lot of fun. It's fantastic art, like always. And so we're really excited about this game. So be on the lookout for that information. which will be coming soon, about being able to put your name down on a copy of that. And that was it for board games this time. There's a lot more stuff coming from Asmodee and other games, but those are the big ones we wanted to point out because they're not going to get as much hype. They're not going to get as much information out there as some of the other games. There's a game called Pyramid that has to do with dice and building a cat pyramid that's coming down the road from Asmodee, and a few others that look really good and fun as well, but we wanted to focus on the CGE games and Manny Vega games because those tend to be they're super popular here, but also at the same time you're not going to see that on Facebook as often as other games. So keep an eye out for all those games coming down the bin, and thank you for watching.